everyone, to episode 108 pre-show. Um, it is Destiny Masters Week, so we'll get into that a little bit in the episode, what that actually means, and how it's a special event inside of Destiny. And if you're a golf fan, you know what Masters Week is. It's going to be very close to that. You know, everybody's looking forward to this week.
Did you know,
Oh, yeah.
and I must have totally missed this. I've got the Grandmaster report pulled up for the gambling corner. You know how it used to say it says like human, exo, awoken.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Was it always masculine, or did they change that verbiage at some point? Because I have like masculine human, masculine exo, masculine awoken.
Yeah, they must have. I don't remember it. I thought it was male or female. Makes sense. Another thing.
And this is cool because it tells you this gives you a season. This is a cool website.
Excuse me. My goodness.
Oh my god. Season 10 were when they started, right?
Yeah.
Oh, remember how we struggled so much on Insight Terminus that first time?
Yep.
If you had to guess, remember we cranked all these in like the last 2 weeks of the season. Season 10, how many total attempts do you think we had at Insight Terminus before we beat, or what attempt do you think we beat it on?
I think it's like 38.
Inside. Wait, 38 attempts?
Not for all of them, Jared. Just for Insight Terminus.
Oh, okay.
7.
17.
I think 7. 17. You think teens?
We beat it. We beat it on our 15th try.
Oh my god. Jeez.
Yeah.
Some of I think at least 2 or 3 of them were early on, and we were just being dumb.
Yeah,
like in the room with the chasm.
First one. Yeah, and then Exodus Crash, 1 clear in 10 attempts.
That's the one where we got him to jump, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Arms Diller, 1 clear, 7 attempts. Brood Hold, 1 clear, 8 attempts.
Oh my god. Can you still make the Exodus guy jump? Because we got the Galran method now, so it might work really well.
I wonder if you could hit him with the tractor cannon. I wonder if that'd blow him back.
No, it doesn't affect bosses.
Season 11 had 45 attempts on Lake of Shadows with 31 clears. Oh
Okay,
my
attempts,
god.
but clears.
Listen to this one. This has to be the worst one. The Corrupted. How many attempts before we won? What attempt did we get to clear?
26.
19.
Oh, that's still not bad. That's barely worse than what Jared thought.
Now, season 12, we start hitting a groove here. 3 attempts, 2 attempts, 1 attempt, 2 attempts. Proving Grounds. First time it came through. 1 clear on 11 attempts.
It's that first clear is always the worst.
I remember how many times we died in that boss room.
Yeah.
That was the worst. Because it takes so long to get there.
Yeah, I imagine there's a lot of People grinding out a couple of those GMs right now. I mean, like going multiple attempts at a few of those newer ones. I probably need to play through the Arms Dealer and Lake of Shadows like the regular mode before I even.
Yeah.
Because I haven't even done
I
that.
played through.
I've done one Arms Dealer. That's it.
I did a Lake of Shadows.
Bungie, this is the anti-fun season.
Yeah. It definitely feels that way.
Like they took like all activities that was like based to be like 7 to 10 minutes, and now it's all at least 15 minutes to a half hour.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right, we ready to get rolling into the real thing here?
Yeah.
Let me
ready.
go to the bathroom real quick.
Oh, I'm also like really struggling to know what try to find a weapon to grind for or level up. I kind of just don't care about any of them.
Really?
Kind of have like too much stuff, you know.
Yeah. I've got I think I've got one more Neomuna weapon. And then I need to get all my Ron clears done this weekend. Or at least get a full run and grab a red border.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we
need to-
basically have a master boss checkpoint,
Yeah.
but don't matter when we got to do challenge next week.
Right. Which challenge did you dislike more?
Probably last week's with those cannons. Like it would have been fine if you could have like jumped, skated, and used strand to get across. I thought that would have been cool, but the fact that you couldn't do that and you failed the challenge made it unfun.
Yeah, like the challenge should have been you just can't shoot yourself across instead of
Yeah.
somebody from the other side has to shoot that nut.
Yep. And then this one's also annoying because you're actually doing it inefficiently. So like I don't like challenges that make you do the encounter slower.
Yeah.
The first encounter is great because that makes sense. Go grab that buff, and then you gotta be buffed to kill the tormentor. Like that's like fine, you know. That's the natural flow.
I didn't play the first week, so I want to catch it when it comes back around or whatever.
You weren't in that one?
No. Did it without me, dog.
Oh yeah, I did. I did help you that because we did it on second try because it was so easy.
Yeah.
But-
But I tell you what, man, that King's Fall I did was, ooh, I'm still upset. That's gonna be I think that'll be my dislike this week.
Are you talking about the one where you don't do bombs until the second wave, the second time around?
No, so it's daughters, and you can't touch the same plate twice
Thor's
while
Lob.
building the brand.
Oh.
And I guess it used to be
That's a
glitched.
challenge. Okay.
Yeah. And I got all the other challenges done or whatever, right? For all the other encounters. That's
Yeah.
the only one that
That's what I heard.
tried to do it twice, but it we never got challenge failed, but it never gave us the chest.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Lots of fun. And I don't know if you know this or not, but let's just say it's not the most skilled of players still trying to do those master challenges in King's Fall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got put an LG post like rank 8 or 9 required or like rank 10 required.
That's what I need to do. Just make it way better because that's the LFG way. It has to be higher than what I.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Jared. There was I don't know if it was a Bungie help or something, but they posted up that they were making the solo dungeon requirement retroactive.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going live on mid-season. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's supposed to be Tuesday.
No,
It's the mid-season, but
I those on Thursday. They usually do put those on Thursday, I thought.
Thursdays.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
But it's
anything,
next week.
So that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Shadow, you ready?
Yeah.
Are you
As ready as it gets.
All right. Click on the button. Eyes up, Guardians. We are live for episode 108 of the Not Yet Gilded Conqueror's Corner podcast. Today is April the 13th, 2023. I am the Destiny bad boy, NotRyanFox. I am back with my fire team, who all of you CCBs know by now. Jared.
Hello, everyone, and it is Destiny Masters Week. That is Master Raid Challenge going on and Grandmasters dropping in the same week. That happens twice a year, so that is Destiny Masters Week. And it's great to be around it. It's a buzz in the community. It's the place to be.
I thought you were going to hit us with the hello, friends. And also here with us tonight, the one and only, the chronicler himself, Chadocero.
Yep, that's me. I'm here, ready to talk about the last bit of raid lore before we start moving on to other stuff. But as Jared said, it is Destiny Masters Week. We've gotten a GM under our belt so far, and Master Challenge this week. So we'll see what we're planning for the rest of the week. But here to talk to lore about you a little later.
And remember, if you're watching on YouTube, that you can take us on the road via Spotify, iTunes, and other podcast services. Make sure you subscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe so we can trick that algorithm and bump us up the charts. Click the bell, turn on notifications, yada, yada, yada. Follow us on Twitter at DestinyCCPod. Send a Spongy friend request. Join the Discord server. We are always looking for people. Last night, we had to pull somebody from the clan to do the Master Challenge with. It could have been you. Could have been you. Going to listen to our team almost fall apart in frustration. This week we got the TWAB from Hippie, but before we get to the TWAB and before Jared runs all that down for us, we're going to listen to our intro music this week from everybody's favorite Link, who you can find on Twitter at LinkOfTimeG.
All right, everyone. Destiny Masters Week, it's here. But before we get into that, we're gonna get into the TWAB, and the TWAB is Bungie took a stance on something that we've lightly mentioned on this podcast. That's probably more rampant on a lot of the PvP podcasts and those people that break down what's going on in PvP. But if Bungie didn't mention them because they didn't want to bring light to them, but you all that's tuned into us ought to know the names that associated with this cheating in Destiny, and that's Zim and Cronus. What they can do, they can take your mouse and keyboard and make it as an input as a controller on console. And I think Cronus it takes away recoil, and Zim does the mouse and keyboard. One of the two. Basically, they make your aiming and guns to behave not the way that they're intended to by the developers, and like helps you with aim assist, and like you can make like any SMG auto rifle just like fire and be super steady and never move. So Bungie's banning them, and they're going to be looked at you, and they're looking into your account. So if you're running one of those and you're like, Bungie won't be able to notice it, you're wrong. They are letting you know now. They can see your skill bracket of what your numbers should be based on how you play, and then they can look at how your guns are performing, and they're going to get you, and they're going to ban you. If you're playing mouse and keyboard, just make the change on over to PC and Steam if you're trying to do that on console with those Cronus and Zims. And recoil is not that bad. Just learn to pull down on the mouse.
Don't be a coward.
All right. Walk this way. You know, I can't do the Steven Tyler voice. I wish I could sing that out. But the fashion gurus, the people that love their Destiny, there's going to be a word for you, a combination that you can dish out and some activities. These activities are going to be in stuff that's not real like competitive and not something that's Bungie's deeming a more difficult encounter to do. So like raids and dungeons and trials, they're not going to be in there, but it's like your normal Crucible, your normal seasonal playlist activity, strikes. You're going to be able to give out best dressed combination, and it's not going to be worth quite as much as other combinations of like influence or whatever. Chad, is that something to deal with triumphs or something like that?
It is for triumphs and for some ranks. There are commendations that you give out that count for more. Okay. So I think that's it. It's just going to be essentially they want it to be just a pat on the back kind of thing. I know that mine is exclusively reserved for Shifty because he's the only person that will care out of my group of people that I play with. Yeah, no, they're making it so you can't just spam it to people and give them extra points and stuff.
So I'm going to just go ahead and I'm going to give everybody a spoiler alert. One of our gambling corners is going to be who can go the longest without receiving the best dressed commendation.
Okay.
So yeah, it should be interesting. And we can't give it to each. It's like this is like a gentleman's agreement that we can't dish it out to each other. So
of course.
Yeah. So I feel like now I'm just like never gonna play anything that's.
Yeah, me too. No more playlist activities for me.
You make sure to leave before your bike start giving out awards. So I know, like I harp on it about how much people care about Destiny and the way their Guardian looks compared to going out and getting weapons and getting loot. So it's in there. They give a little bit of an explanation of why it wasn't launching at the beginning of season 20, and basically they just didn't have time whenever the player identity team took a hold and wanted to do this. It just wasn't in the cards for them to get it in place before the season started. So it's there now. All right. Trials Labs. Apparently it was around last weekend or the weekend before. You know, me, I couldn't be bothered. But it's going to be around for week 8 and week 11. So week 8 is next week. So when that's coming around, there's going to be the Challenger pool and the practice pool. And there's going to be stomp protection and farming protection in the practice pool. But Challenger pool is basically for people trying to go flawless. practice pool is people that's normally getting flawed cards, and not winning a lot of games. If you start getting on some win streaks and doing really well, you might get bumped back up to the challenger pool. As of right now, it doesn't look like you'll be able to tell what pool you're in while you're matchmaking. You can probably tell by whenever you get stomped by the other team, and you know that they've only went flawless 5 times that week, and you know what pool you was in.
Oh, we're back. We're back to the big boy pool.
So, how do you
Back
feel
to
about
the deep
this?
end.
So you think this is good for the trials population or bad?
I think it's great. I'm a lot more likely to hop in there and grind some games out on a Saturday or Sunday if I'm not getting absolutely mud stomped in there. So especially like if there's a weapon I kind of want and I just want like the wins and get some engrams, like the double XP weekend type deal, get some engrams, get some rolls on a couple weapons. I'm going to be a lot more likely to do it now than the way that it is currently.
So go ahead.
If I'd known that, I don't pay attention too much to the trial stuff unless Jared says, "Hey, play it," and then he catches me on a Sunday morning. He's like, "Hey, we're going into trials," and I'm like, "Okay." So I didn't even remember it. As soon as you started talking, I was reading this morning or when it came out, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, Trials Labs was the thing. They were doing something, right?" And then you just said that it happened, and I'm like, "Oh well, that's the week I was gone, so of course I didn't play." But I'll definitely give it a shot when it comes back because I still need to earn my immortal just in time for it to not be good. So I'm waiting for that to happen so that I can play with it not as good as it was, because that's kind of what that's my jam. But I mean, shake up trials, do whatever. I don't care. Like make it weird. Make a separate trials node that's just scorched.
Ooh.
Okay.
Definitely don't do that, but still.
Yeah, you all know we're not big PvP guys. We're basically going to PvP to get weapons that we could use in PvE activity. Every now and then you might see us stack up in some Iron Banner, but mainly because we're goofing off and just playing with buddies. So,
But don't forget, we did go flawless together one time in like 7 games. Like literally just rolled right through them. So, but that was a season that weirdly we were kind of all into PvP. So we had a lot of games under our belt, and but it's not like that now. It's not like that now. I played a fair amount of PvP this season. I think I made it to rank 10 in trials, and I went through 36 games or whatever it is. I went through 2 characters on Iron Banner all the way through. So that's a lot of, plus like the first couple weeks of the season doing my weekly games and all that. So it's been a pretty big I think I just reset my Crucible rank, which is nothing to most of you all, but to me, I don't ever reset Crucible this early. So
they probably still need to go after a good Riptide or 2, so it'd be a good time after at the end of the season to focus them up.
I've been going for that rocket that everybody's been chasing down out of the Crucible loot pool. The ones that they're using to solo Nezarec.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, blowout.
Well, that's it. So I've just kind of been using my rank ups on that, and then my strike ones I've been using on trying to get a better hothead. So chasing rockets just in time for rockets to get nerfed, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. Next up is get some time to kilt. And then it's asking for a Bungie Foundation. So this is the 12th annual Kilts for Kids. And this is whenever Bungie raises money for the Seattle Ronald McDonald House. And what this does, it helps... I lost my place. It helps families stay the nights. And I think they said $30 gets... a family stays there for one night. That's what it pays for a family to stay there in need. So that's great. If you make a $50 donation, you'll get the emblem. And then you got some stuff scaling up after that, 100, 250, and 500. So usually there's some digital art involved, and then maybe some signed art as you work your way up those tiers.
Ronald McDonald House is awesome. Unfortunately, I've been at one, not for myself, but visiting some family that were in one. And it's, some kids are born with things or have things to where they're in the hospital for weeks and months at a time. And that kind of takes the financial burden off of families being multiple hours away from home at the hospitals in the bigger cities and trying to find, having to worry about a hotel to stay at or something like that. It's all paid for with that. So I'm very proud of the community in Bungie for this. I really like this one.
They got a pretty cool picture in the TWAB of, it looks to be 4 Bungie employees dressed up in kilts and like they're ready for action with some swords and hammers and bows. Never wore a kilt. I heard it's pretty breezy and quite comfortable. I think I do have some Scottish heritage, so I'll always have a draw to me to learn how to play the bagpipes, and my wife just says no. But I feel like if I ever got a kilt, I would just have to get the bagpipes too at that point. So
I'm more of a mini kilt guy myself, but that's just me.
You got to be below the hands, Ryan.
So that's pretty much it for the TWAB from Hippie. Just a couple quick hitters, and funds to go raise for the kids. So that's always a good thing. So now we're going to talk about Destiny Masters Week. Again, Grandmasters and Raid Challenges going on. So for us, we got to play 2 nights of this week. The first night we did Glassway Grandmaster, and then the second night we did the Master Root of Nightmares Castellum Challenge. So that's what took up all 2 nights of gaming, as people that work throughout the day. For those people that did Conquerors Gilded in a day, shout out to you. I know that's a grind, especially this season is a pretty tough one that we'll try to make it through 1 or 2 more this weekend. So Glassway, I feel like it's now the easiest Grandmaster of the season, and how the turntables,
Oh man, it was not good when we first did it.
No, well, I think we had 2 total deaths up until we get to the final room, and one of the wyverns just like teleported 100 meters and through 14 walls to get inside with us, and then just absolutely one banged our entire fire team. Yeah, so that was kind of frustrating because it was A, the first time we had died like that in a long time, but B, we were like 20 minutes in and we kind of had a little bit of a late start that evening. I was having trouble getting the kids down. So yeah. So then we had to run it all back over, and then we got there. That, of course, we all know at this point, most people have probably ran it, but if you're listening and you haven't ran it, what would you guys say is the other than the boss room, where do you think everybody needs to kind of look out at?
I think when they have to stand on the plate to take down the fluid, like just don't go out there and just stay on the plate. Like go out there on the plate, wait for the first wave of ads to come, and jump off the plate, get back in cover with the wells and the bows, and take away those snipers and the shanks that just can really overrun you very easily if you're not taking them out.
Definitely that. I was going to say the standing on the plate, because everything else you kind of take in your own time and take it slow. But if you stand on a plate just too long and spawn 2 waves of ads, it can overrun you and be too much. Especially once you get to the waves where the explosive shanks pop out and they're just running at you. And if you're hiding from the sniper shanks because you spawned them in and didn't take care of them fast enough, that explodey boy is going to be right next to you before you know it. So it's definitely the scarier part of that, besides the boss room, obviously.
Loadout wise, I was running. The first time I was running the well stasis well lock with like the solar grenade builds. The second time I ran it, I switched back over to Old Faithful with the stasis grenades and just kept everything at bay, mainly just solely for that final room. Weapon wise, I was using like a crafted succession with I think it's reconstruction, enhanced reconstruction, enhanced vorpal, and then I was running the BXR 5.5 battler because there's this solar surge on that gives you extra damage with solar, and I think the roll on it I want to say is like Adrenaline Junkie demo, which I don't think you can get that roll. I don't think Adrenaline Junkie rolls on it
You
anymore.
can't,
So so that's one I've kind of got stashed in the vault that I haven't deleted. And then I actually had Xenophage. So I didn't have anything to handle. So it's Barrier and
Overload.
Unstoppable, or Overload rather.
Overload.
Yeah, the Overload Hobgoblins. So I didn't have anything to handle the overloads, but they both of them did. So it worked out pretty well because the pulse rifle and all that handled the barrier, and then I could kind of snipe the stuff farther out just to kind of make it a little quicker along the way. Sniper doesn't do you much good in the final room, I will say that, but it does a lot of good along the way.
Yeah, for me, Le Monarch is usually gets a lot of uses for Grandmasters for me, mainly because you can one shot nearly all red bars with the perfect draw. So that's one of the things that can be annoying in Grandmasters, is like how much red bars actually take the takedown. So one shotting them, and then you got the built-in overload, and it's overload bow anyways. So the shot just always stuns an overload, and then a blinding I would say a disorientating grenade launcher. Pardon our dust. I think most people should hopefully have it crafted by now. If not, it's because of your own laziness of not LFGing Legend Dares of Eternity. Yep. So I mean, just
and you have to hit that pinnacle score, like the 250. You don't have to get the 300, but you have to get the 250 to get the red border.
Yep.
If you decide to do this.
And then I did a solar rocket just because I could easily switch to it, put out a lot of damage because it was solar burn. And then I was a stasis warlock. You know, the ice turrets. The ice turrets also stun overload champs. So like I could have went anti-barrier or something instead, but I just know in that final room, in that boss room, you just as much overload as possible because those champs just run in at you.
Jared and I were also both using the Osmiomancy exotic warlock gloves. So if you're working on that, I'm sure you can find, probably somewhere around 300,000 YouTube videos on that stasis warlock. But if you want to see ours specifically, hit us up on Twitter at DestinyCCPod, and we'll send you some screenshots.
Yep, my stuff was not super exciting. I was running obviously the good old Ursa Titan, arc auto with an arbalest and a linear just to hit some stuff with some damage really fast. And yeah, no, I mean the arc auto. If I probably could have done a bow, but we already had a bow, and the arc auto helped pop a lot of the shields at the end, because in that boss room, all the harpies have arc shields, every single one of them. So hitting them, popping shields was really helpful, and just kind of keeping an eye out and being there to use Ursas to cover our butts if I can react in time, unlike the first time, obviously. But yeah, I mean, literally, I only used it I think twice on that last run just to pick somebody up, and that was it, and then back off. But it's better than not having it, so I was fine with that.
So anything closing on those GMs or on that particular GM?
I just think it's just how far Grandmasters have come now to where Glassway is the easier one of the season. compared to
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think was that in the pre-show or was it the pre-show whenever I was going through our old stats on that one website?
I was on the pre-show.
Yeah, so if you check out the YouTube on the pre-show, I talk about how many runs it took us. Whenever we first started these, it would I think it was Insight Terminus. We didn't beat it till our 15th try or something stupid. So we've come a long way, and that's what's cool about Destiny, in my opinion, is the stuff that I think that was like 10 seasons ago whenever the Conqueror Seal first came out. And I would say I am 175% the player that I was 10 seasons ago, just from doing like GMs and like contest mode raids and stuff like that. Just so much better at the game, just doing the more difficult content. So it's cool that you can go from being able to, because even before then, we beat all the raids and didn't really have any trouble with that. But, I can tell we're all much better at the game than we were when we first started.
All right, next up is the Master Challenge for Voodoo Nightmares, Castellum. Normally, this encounter, you move the one oddball planet from right side over to left side, and the same from left side over to right. So I think normally...
Macrocosm, I think, right? Not Castellum.
Yeah. Think about it. Yeah.
The planets encounter.
Planets. We just call it planets.
Yeah, planets. So normally, what is it, Fox? Did you take the dark? Usually on left side, you take the dark over to my side, and I take the light over to you.
So typically, whenever it starts on my plate, there are 2 light planets and 1 dark planet, and I move the one that's different. I pick it up, put it in my pocket, run across the map to where Jared is because he corresponds to me, and then deposit it on the one that he tells me where I have to deposit it, and then I tell him where he has to deposit his. With the challenge mode, instead of getting all the light on the left side and all the dark on the right side, you have to get all the dark on the left side and all the light on the right side. So essentially it takes 2 full rotations per damage phase, and that's all you get. So if you mess that up, like if you don't do it perfect, then basically you're gonna fail. You're gonna fail the challenge, have to wipe to restart it. It literally requires about 8 minutes of playing absolutely perfect as a fire, or playing 99% perfect as a fire team. You can have a couple deaths here and there as long as they're not at the wrong time. Damage wasn't the issue for us. It was literally just killing the ads and getting in a rhythm. It took us a long time to get into a rhythm, but once we hit the rhythm, we stayed in rhythm, and we were getting 1 and 2 damage phases deep pretty consistently. Just little dumb stuff here and there would pop up, or a Scion would pop us off, and so it was a frustrating challenge. I think we were in there probably an hour longer than we should have been, I would say, but that's how it goes on that sometimes. Had a little bit of a mishmash of our clan and our day 1 fire, or our contest mode fire team, but we got it done. That's all that matters. And we got to help Zen do it at some point, but it's not going to be this week probably.
Yeah. So what's kind of frustrating is, like, normally you just need you could take your time to take out the Centurion, to take out the Colossus, because you'll need to do it once. But this time around, you got to do it twice, which if you're not fast enough, he'll start pulling the planets in, and it's just a wipe mechanic. So that took us a while to ramp up to the speed it took of taking everything out and moving faster, because for the most part, we're not that fast a moving group. We're not speed runners. We're kind of just like take it at our pace and get stuff done. So that was a big hurdle to get over, and kind of plays into that. I'll give this recommendation: if you have 2 invis hunters on like the farthest back plates that can just straight run across the middle, could save you a lot of time and effort if you're able to do that. Because Because then at where close to the spawn is where like the aggro people are at, and then the other two plates to where aggro's kind of getting pulled a couple more other ways where you're not getting singled out as you're trying to run across compared to that backside. And usually that boss usually hangs out on that back way where you're running back and forth. And I couldn't tell you how many times I got stomped and like barely survived of getting through there. So like I was like resilience 9, concussive dampener, and double solar resist, and solar's doing extra damage to you this week in Root of Nightmares Master. So
one thing that I found that helped me on that back run was, and I don't really want this to get out because I haven't seen anybody else do this, but I found out that you can jump up on top of the planets and planet hop all the way across for the back platforms, and it literally keeps you out of all fire. Now, I don't know if that's something I could do as a warlock, and I know that they have that like extended jump because of like their glide ability. I don't know if you could do it on every single class, but I did it on warlock probably the last 12 to 15 runs that we had, and made it pretty easily. And it kept me out of all the mess down at the bottom. So Jared was going camo, and I wasn't having to worry about getting popped by scions and then having a phalanx throw a shield and shield bash me, and the boss shooting fire at me, and all that. So I was able to stay up above all the issues, and it was actually really, really easy once I discovered that. So we'll keep that quiet. That can be something for all the CCBs to know about, but we'll keep that a little hush hush.
Yeah, I definitely. I found it. I know it's not great, but if you go in there for your first try, and you're the guy taking care of the anti barriers, the rage shotgun, if you got it, is a lot of fun on them because that first shot freezes immediately. So that'll give you breathing room if you need it. That'll let you kind of roll out, but definitely freezing them's great if you can freeze them if you need to use a turret, Ozymandias, or if you just using a fusion or whatever, or a chill clip rocket will slow them down and blow them up. But yeah, picking up speed was the hardest part of that from my perspective and from Jared's, was getting to a point where we could do it quickly enough that we didn't have the wipe mechanic and not cause too many deaths and mess up. Is that speed is where for us was difficult because, like you said, we're chillaxing group, so we're going through and we're having fun, and that's a speed run, and we weren't used to it, so it took a little bit for us to get there, but we got there eventually, and it's over now.
yeah, and after you get it done, once usually the next time around, if you do, try to beat that challenge again, it gets easier because this with more experience, people watch more YouTube videos of it going on and just get a better feel of the area.
So, Jared, I know that outside of like the Queen's Walk, you have all the raid titles, correct?
No.
Garden.
Oh, Garden.
Yeah.
We don't have Garden.
And then
Yeah.
I haven't finished Kingslayer, but the only thing I have left on it is just like Triumph encounters. It's not even like Master Raid anything. It's just
Right.
some weird things
Like
here.
the floor is
nice.
lava, that type
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah.
So,
God.
so based upon what we've done so far, and granted, we don't know what the boss encounter is going to be. It might just be. You think it'll be something like runner wise? Would be the challenge.
I think maybe it's something with hatred.
What's it called?
I don't know. I haven't even looked. Hatred. Like maybe you have to pass the hatred around. Or anyways.
Yeah.
So we don't know exactly what it is, but would you say that this is the hardest of the master challenges that we've had? It kind of feels like it to me.
Well, Vow Disciple, we kind of look back, and that was pretty hard. That third encounter where you could only kill one taken knight per person, and you gotta swap out the relics mid encounter, and how
Oh
much.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
that one was not fun.
and then
That one was not
caretaker
fun at all.
and then caretaker where you can only grab one glyph at a time made overload spawn constantly, and I think that season overload was just like a trash weapon. I think it was just weird, which is bad.
Sidearms or something.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it
I know.
depends on how that boss is, because Val Disciple boss challenge was very easy. So we'll see how
Right.
Desi is.
Oh, so the challenge name is All Hands. So, as
Everybody's
a guest,
gonna have to run.
not everybody's gonna have to run. I think it's everybody's gonna have to activate a seed on each side,
Oh.
because there's exactly 6 to activate per side. So like, you would do tradesies. So like Jared and I would activate a light, and then we'd move, and then we'd activate a dark, and then the next pair would come in
Okay.
and activate a light and a dark, and the next pair would come in and activate light dark.
All right, so this is, if that's true, it's not going to be that hard, because
No.
we do 3 on each side, right?
Mhm.
And then we do the buff where you do the wiping counter to keep from
Oh,
wiping.
okay, yeah, I see where you're
And then
going.
when that happens, after we get that buff, you just switch
2
sides.
new people.
Yeah, you just switch sides.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the 2 ways are the way I did it, where you have pairs that do the first 2 and then the next pair, or Jared's, which is just a full swap after you pick up the buff to survive the wipe.
Because after
Which
you connect 3,
would be more consistent. Yeah, connect 3, pick up the buff, wipe mechanic, and then connect 3 and then DPS. Yeah, that would probably make the most sense, if that's what it is.
yeah.
Still don't know. Makes sense.
That all hands. That sounds pretty likely. I feel that's not going to be fun. That might be
No.
one we need to practice on normal mode before we try it on master.
Because I think only Shifty Jared and I have run
I've never ran the final
seeds.
encounter.
Yeah.
Yeah, Zen. Well, you're going to do it this weekend then.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, it'll be easy. Yeah, we can run it on normal.
Yep.
You can teach me
Yeah,
how
because
to take his
I'm always
hatred.
the hatred guy. The hatred's not difficult. You just have to have a Vorpal sniper, and you can't shoot him too early. If you shoot him too early,
Yep.
you're in big trouble.
Yep. Man, this made me excited about this weekend Destiny. I don't know what it is, but like I was a little giddy, thinking stuff out.
We need to do a better job. I tried to stream, but to be real honest, I still had the game set at 1440 instead of 1080 because I'm dumb and stupid.
New monitor
And-
problems.
And I didn't turn it down, so the stream was all crappy. So yeah, that's on me. It's on me.
All right. We'll see what we can do this weekend for those. All right, so that brings us to 3 likes and 3 dislikes this week in Destiny for us. All right, I'm going to start with my like. I like logging into Destiny and only playing difficult Destiny. I'm not logging in trying to, do strikes, do Crucible, ignore Gambit. I'm not doing any of that. I just logged in. It's like, all right, we're doing Grandmasters, cool. We're doing Master Raid, cool. Oh, we're just gonna do the regular Voodoo Nightmares. All right, I like that. I think this is a good place to be at.
My like this week, man, I've got a couple likes. You know what? We're gonna do a 3 for the people here. First like that I had was running Jared's buddies that hadn't ran the new raid through like last Friday. Kind of doing that. So there were 3 of us and 3 of them, and the 3 of them were pretty fun to play with, and we seemed to mesh pretty well together and had a good time. My second like is King's Fall. I think it was last Saturday or Sunday. I was at the house by myself and everybody was gone, and I just decided, or actually it was Monday, I was off work because I was on call over the weekend, and I decided I want to get in here and crank some of these challenges out, and I got every Master Raid challenge done except for the Daughters encounter. And then I really like having still doing the red border stuff. Finally got my round robin finished up. All I have left is the grenade launcher from Neomuna on there. And having a pretty good time running back through Deepstone Crypt and getting those. The only bad part is that I'm kind of at the point now. I got the sword, I've got the shotgun, I've got the sniper. I need one more machine gun, which I can get this week, and then I'm gonna have to run the other encounters to get the hand cannon and the posterity and the trusty, the scout rifle. So I've been having some fun doing that because it's a pretty easy LFG raid. If you've never done it, that's when you can kind of get in and have a good time.
Yeah, my like is GMs with the squad, like running in, doing the hard stuff, having fun. It feels good. Feels really good. It's not master raid challenge. That's just adding a new mechanic you have to do. It's just things are harder, things hit harder. Just survive it and beat it, and that's something that I like to do with these two knuckleheads. Every season, it's a good time for me. So I always enjoy when GMs come back. Just because we get to do stuff and focus up and get cracking on that stuff. Now the dislike for me, which is funny because I don't have nearly as much stuff done as Ryan does because I don't LFG because I'm cursed. Is that I don't have much to do besides GMs and the Master Challenge, which is now done. So all I have is GMs. I'm all pennied out. My characters are all maxed, so I don't need any of that. I'm not like all the raid borders for the seasonal stuff's done. I have some Neomuna stuff, but I spent so much time on Neomuna, I really don't want to go back there for a little bit. And I don't LFG raids, as is evidenced by me not having raid titles that these two have. Because I just don't. I have very bad experiences for every LFG I've ever done. So for me, there's not much going on, unless we're on doing GMs this week because there's no double anything. There's no double Gambit, Vanguard, or Crucible. I'm like, I don't have anything to grind out right now.
Double Nightfall.
Double Nightfall drops. I don't care about that. I'm not gonna get good guns, so I don't care. I just need to get my Vanguard ornament and get out. That's all. Just check the box. Done.
Dude, you were the guy that ground out Buzzard literally the first day of that season. Like the first before you went to bed, before you went to bed the first night of that season. I remember I was like, yeah, I've got a pretty good start on this. And Chad's like, yeah, I got it already. And I was like, the whole thing? But my dislike this week was definitely the daughters encounter that I mentioned before, because we did it twice and I did it with two different squads. And doing that it's kind of a pain. I'm going to be real honest with you guys. The people that are running Master King's Fall right now, I wouldn't say they're the top 1% of Destiny players. So you got to get, you got to find somebody that's at that encounter. Then you got to find a group that can do damage. Then you got to find a group that can stay alive, which is a lot to ask for. But we never got the challenge failed, and the second chest didn't spawn either time. And apparently, if you Reddit or Google this, the challenge used to be bugged in a way to where as long as you didn't break, as long as nobody jumped on their plates and like they stayed there and the platform stayed the whole time, it used to count for the challenge. But now that's not the case. They fixed it to be what it's supposed to be. So, you can't even really watch a YouTube video or find a post to figure out 100% what the challenge is. It's just really, really not fun. And I'll be very happy when it's over, because once I get this done, I'm like a catalyst run away, like one or two, just the not even the challenges like Jared had mentioned, just like the encounter triumphs. And I don't think I ever ran one as a full squad of the same character class. So pretty close to that title. And then I think I'm going to try to focus on maybe doing the Riven, trying to get that done, because all that I have left is a flawless run for it. So yeah.
All right. Brings me to my dislike, and then it's going to be pools of fire and their AoE damage. They're just ridiculous how long they last, and like their AoE around the pool of fire that actually damages you, even though it's not physically touching you. It's ridiculous. Bungie kind of needs to bring those in a little bit to like be accurate to what it actually is. And if it's going to be a pool of fire and enemies can do it, I want a weapon that I can also do it to them. It's only fair. So I need something that I can throw pools of fire and they sit there and just damage for like 10, 15 seconds. I think it's time.
That's like a wither horde that scorches the earth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. All right. Weapons breakdown. No weapons breakdown because I can't bring myself to care about the weapons that's going on this season. Unless you all have something that you want to hear about, I think they're just check boxes. I'm not seeing anything that I'm like, man, I can't wait to unlock this weapon frame so I can level it up, craft it. It's not there for me.
Did you get the Regnet? You already did that one, right?
I mean, I have a Godwall Wendigo.
Yeah, but is it called Regnet? And does it have enhanced perks?
Can you get bosses regnant?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unforgivable.
Yeah, that's done. I mean, it's the red border's done, but I don't care about leveling it up.
Oh, I have
Yeah,
one.
I'm right
Ready
there.
to roll, baby.
I'm with you.
So Jared, I know that maybe we could do, because it's been a while since we've done some of these. Maybe we could pick a couple weapons from each of the raids that have red borders and just kind of re-go over them.
Okay.
So like Succession, Heritage.
Oh yeah, we never talked about the Deepstone ones, the remakes, huh? Because they have new perk pools, so
All right.
we can talk about those later.
The time to gamble?
Yep.
All right. Now, little heads up as to where we are. This was our glimmer count going in at the end of the show last week. Jared had 8,000. Chad had 2,000. I had 16,000. And we did a bet. Chad bet. I think we all did 2,000. And this was the most deaths in the first Grandmaster that we did. So the first Grandmaster that we did, we had kind of already discussed. And that was Glassway. So I'll be real honest with you. I don't think we really thought that we would fail that one whenever we did. So whenever we failed the first time, Jared had 1 death, Chad had 2 deaths, and I had 2 deaths. But we decided that it would be the cleared run that would count, right?
Yeah.
So the way that worked out in our cleared run, Chad, 0 deaths. He was flawless. Jared had 1 death, and then I died 5 times. The last 2 or 3 of those, hold on. The last 2 or 3 of those, I knew that I'd already lost, and I was like, let's just speed this up. Let me get some barrier shots on this boss, so we're not sitting here for 3 or 4 extra minutes hitting it. Because I was like, these guys aren't going to die 2 to 3 more times each. So had I been playing it safe, I probably would have had maybe 2, probably 3 deaths. So still would have lost. I knew I had lost. I accepted defeat on that. So with that, Chad bet that I would have the most deaths. So Chad won his bet. I was going to take him up to 4K. If somebody will update this, I'd appreciate it.
I think he said 6K.
And then no, because he just anteed. Yeah, he would have 6K. You're right, Jared. Sorry about that. So that gives Chad a little breathing room from having to delete a god roll. So the way this works, if you run out of glimmer, you have to offer up a weapon out of your vault. The other 2 members determine how much that weapon is worth in glimmer, and then that is kind of what you buy back in with. So if I have curated gnawing hunger, that's going to be worth more than just like a level 10 red border, right? Just because of the rarity of it, how good the weapon is. So that's kind of how we're doing this. We've 2 of us have lost our entire bankroll before, I want to say. But so that's kind of where we are now. So now I have 14K, Jared has 6K, Chad has 6K. And you guys, I kind of thought we would kind of roll this over. So however many GMs we complete before the next podcast, I figure we do another 2,000 ante, and we're going to do most deaths in those. So you are going to bet on who do you think will have the most deaths. And if we get 2 done, if we get 3 done, if we get 1 done, and we'll kind of go from there. Do you guys have any better ideas than that?
So let's just make it to where the person that has the least deaths out of all of those gets the ante.
Okay. Instead of choosing a person, just
Yeah.
the person who plays the best gets it.
Yeah.
Okay. And the other thing, I assume this is all right with you guys, but we'll do it to where it has to, like, God forbid we wipe on a couple of these. It's only the completed runs that count, correct?
Yeah.
Yep. Least deaths among clear GMs before next pod. That's what I'm writing down.
Okay.
Yep.
Sounds good. Now, do we want to do 2,000 or do we want to do 3,000? What do we want to...
So let's keep it at 2.
What do we want to ante?
Let's keep it at 2 there. But we still have that side bet, right, of the destiny of getting the best dressed combination.
Yeah. Is that going to be out before the next podcast?
I think it happens at the next podcast date. So
okay.
So we'll just do 1,000 for that one, right? Last standing.
We'll do 1,000.
Last standing without getting.
The last to receive. The last to receive, and gentleman's agreement. We can't give it to each other, and we probably need to tell our other raid members and stuff, right?
It doesn't count. It has
to
be received in the wild.
It doesn't exist in the raids or GMs. So they said high-end content raids, GMs, dungeons don't have it. So
like Iron Banner, we can maybe
banana
catch it from a buddy.
Well, I mean, if we go as just a 3-stack into banana and just just keep playing until somebody gets it.
You act like I'm gonna be playing
that would be what
stuff.
I'm saying, because the next week that's gonna be a double anything. I'm grinding that playlist out just to get it, just to get the ornament. And if you guys aren't playing playlist stuff, then I'm done.
Me too.
Because Jared's like, if it's Gambit, I don't care. I'm just gonna sit here and not play.
I got
only raids for me.
I got blocks to go break down on Minecraft, so.
Man, what a game!
Yeah,
what a game! All right, so that's where we stand. I almost think that we should make the Destiny one just an absurd amount, of glimmer.
I wish we could make it to where one of us go bankrupt at the end of it some way.
Just your bank gets drained no matter what. If you get it,
we'll see if we can make it a week and if we come up with a better idea.
Okay. We're not quite to the half-baked take point of the season yet, so I believe that takes us right on to the lore.
All right, we are finishing off our armor sets for the raid. We're talking about the final acolyte of Nezarec in the Hunter Trepidation armor, Caraxus. The reef's labyrinth of asteroids and debris provided many a hideout for those who wished to be lost, and a potential gathering place for those that partook in less savory acts. A large ketch had set up among the debris on a random asteroid of its captain's choosing, and had opened up for business, supposedly as a bar. The music bumped, and the clientele, Elixni pirates, were as rowdy as they were ruthless. Caraxus sat at a table with his head resting in his upper hands, his cup held in the lower. Exhausted, he hadn't taken a sip since he sat down, and he hadn't noticed that an imposing captain flanked by two smaller dregs had entered the bar. The captain started toward his table. "Where's the relic?" The captain, now towering over the table, chittered in their shared tongue. Caraxus visibly tensed and gripped his cup so tightly that the cloth woven around his palms strained. "I don't have it," he responded. Before Caraxus could register what happened, the captain snatched him from his seat. Despite being loosely labeled captain by his crew, Caraxus was nowhere near the size of the Elixni before him. His feet dangled in the air. "Pathetic, not worthy of your crew." "You're right," Caraxus agreed, defeat evident in his tone. The captain's words were venomous, but not as impactful as the fist that collided with Caraxus's face. The other patrons scattered. A blur of fists and insults erupted. A faint chorus of ethereal laughter swelled beneath the violent chaos. The slow drag of Caraxus's injured leg made the trek back to his empty ship longer than it had been before. Persistent exhaustion made itself known between each pang of pain that jolted through him. He was thankful the captain's beating had been interrupted by another patron's fist long enough for him to skitter away, but the paranoia of him being tracked lingered. It felt as if an unseen force hovered behind him. Caraxus pushed onward and kept his gaze forward. When he finally made it to his ship, the airlock hissed open and revealed a dark space within. He ignored his usual precautions, too focused on the unbearable pain in his limbs. The hammock he'd fashioned for himself called to him. He collapsed into it and didn't exhale until he found a comfortable enough position. Sleep found him as soon as he'd closed his eyes, the fastest he'd achieved it in days. Forced insomnia and a surprise beating had taken its toll. Then there was a knock at the door. The moment Caraxus heard a rap on the metal, he reached for the gun on the shelf beside his hammock. He approached the door with the most delicate footsteps he could manage. A heaviness weighed down on every part of him. He hesitated, eyes fixed on the rusted metal. Rap, tap, tap went the door. The door creaked open and immediately aimed down his sights at nothing. Confusion crept into his mind as something hit him hard. Caraxus scrunched his four eyes shut. He was flung backwards and braced for impact, but it never came. Caraxus opened his eyes, expecting to see the walls of his ketch. Instead, he saw the lunar pyramid, sleek and dark. Caraxus instinctively moved toward the pyramid, an echo of a journey he wanted desperately to forget. The pyramid peeked over the edge of the chasm, a foreboding sight. It was complemented by a stillness that filled the area and made him feel as if he were on the edge of suffocating. He remembered how he carefully traversed the jagged paths. It seemed as if the pyramid was pulling him in. Everything felt familiar, including the paranoia. But something was off. The architecture wobbled and shifted with every step he took. Statues felt as though their heads turned to watch him. Faint whispers danced around the rooms and faded before they could be comprehended. The air was thick with anxious anticipation, with fear. Caraxus retread familiar hallways and staircases until suddenly, without realizing, he stepped into the innermost chamber. His chamber. The whispers grew louder as he approached the body, slumped over and shrouded in shadow at the center of the room. Hisses, yells, and fervent but unintelligible phrases all blended as Caraxus moved closer. The corpse had been picked clean, barely anything left outside the vague shape of a body underneath the cloak. Be it the threat of curses or sheer fear, his head remained untouched. The whispers grew louder the closer Caraxus got to the entity's face. His entire body shook as he stared down at the darkened helmet, a ring of eyes pronounced even in the low light. Despite the same dread that filled him, Caraxus followed through with the familiar actions and carefully removed one of the eyes. The room shook violently, and before he could safely stow the piece away, Caraxus toppled over. He closed his eyes and braced for impact. The energy of the crew bustled. Caraxus opened his eyes, revealing the vastness of space beyond the nearby porthole, and a dozen or so Elixni partaking in various activities. The air was heavy with tension, hushed tones, and cautious movements as they maneuvered around the decks. Caraxus was quiet, as he had been the first time, the weight and power of the item he'd liberated heavy in his palm. It pulsed. The world had changed, another familiar moment. "Things aren't looking well, Captain," a Dreg whispered to Caraxus. He remembered this conversation, but he did not recognize the Dreg's deep tone. It sounded out of place. The Dreg leaned a bit closer, eyes darting between his shipmates. "Our food is low. The ship needs repairs, and the crew is worried it might be cursed." "Then they can leave," Caraxus snapped. It was automatic, much like his trek through the pyramid. The Dreg hesitated in surprise. Caraxus blinked, no longer surrounded by his crew or their voices of discontent. He suddenly found himself in his quarters. It was dark, the type of darkness that felt as if it would devour him. Caraxus sat at the table by his hammock, just him and the eye. He stared at it, and it stared back. A book of magic lay beside it, a frantic solution to an unexpected problem. The ritual was simple, or so he thought. He was barely able to translate the text on his own, but was too stubborn, too scared to ask for help. He grasped a pointed crystal in his hands. Words left his mouth, but he couldn't hear them over the incessant whispers. The crystal glowed, and Caraxus was met with an energy blast that propelled him backwards. This time, he felt the impact. The whispers and screams drilled into Caraxus's mind. He lifted his hands to his face. Whimpers and pitiful chitters were the only sounds that escaped him. Again, the scenery around him had shifted, and he stood on the edge of a meteorite. Though the reef was vast, he recognized the ship debris flowing past him, but it was different than he remembered, twisted in horrifying shapes. The deep purples and blues were dimmed. It was quiet, save for his own personal audience. Caraxus held up the eye in his deteriorated hands. It still pulsed with energy. "Free me." He heard the allure, a voice seducing his soul to do its bidding, but the distortion that followed it reminded Caraxus why he'd come in the first place, an untraceable end for this cursed relic. He balled his fist around the eye. The screams pierced his ears as they grew louder. A dark hand reached out to him, fingers inches from his arm. Caraxus flung the eye into the reef with all the strength he could muster. He collapsed, and then a knock on the door. Caraxus jolted awake, hand already outstretched to grab his gun. The whispers were gone. His quarters were quiet. He gazed around the room, dazed. Caraxus stumbled out of bed and delicately approached the door. He aimed down his sights. The metal creaked open. Outside was a human, dressed in a dark, ornate cloak, one hand raised in greeting, the other tightly holding a tome. It gave off the same nightmarish energy as the eye, as Nezarec. "Apologies for disturbing your sleep," said the man in a tongue Caraxus loosely understood. "But could you happen to be Caraxus?" So it looks like this guy whose family was disciples of Nezarec of some kind, finds each of these acolytes and turns them into acolytes on their own. It is neat that each story is of a different race, showing that Nezarec branches everybody. Nightmares are just prevalent no matter what race you are, where you exist, and he knows how to get to you. So it's the end of that raid lore, and I hope
Couldn't get to
have
me.
we done a red board this week?
No.
Nope.
No, right? Okay. Because I'm wondering if that's the last raid book.
Yeah, because it won't be tied to master because it's too hard. So it'll probably be, I don't know. It's not tied to flawless run. Nobody has it yet, do they?
I haven't checked. I haven't checked this week yet. I'm willing to bet it's just somebody has it, but I haven't looked yet. But that's the next raid lore that we're going to be going into is the book once it's fully out and fully done. Otherwise, we're looking at. I'm trying to figure out what else to talk about because the lore books for the season aren't done either because the season isn't done yet until like the second to last week of the season. But I could probably go through just the lore books as they are so far and then speculate on the last chapters. But I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out before next week.
Time for the mailbag.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's favorite part of the show. Question 1. This is a two-parter. If you had to pick one raid to run with LFGs, which raid would it be? If you had to pick one raid to run with your SEAL Team 6, which I assume is probably the people that we do our normal 6, which raid would that be?
All right. So, Fox, you've been doing a lot of LFG. Go ahead.
Deepstone, Crypt definitely is the LFG answer because the final boss doesn't require any communication outside of like a couple text chat as to who's going to be operator and who's going to be suppressor. And as somebody that farmed for 2.5 or 3 hours to get in successions and heritages, it literally takes no communication in order to do the Atrax encounter. So I would say that would be the answer for that one. As far as running one with my bros, man, this is probably not the right answer, but but I think it's going to be Garden of Salvation. I think it's because we run that raid less than any of the other raids comparatively. So that one's a fun one to get in there because we run that raid backwards because of where we did it together that first week without looking anything up. Our typical strategies aren't the ones that everybody typically uses. So, I think that would be it.
Two good picks there. LFG for me is Vault of Glass. Like, mostly everybody knows the encounter, basically understands all encounters because they did it in Destiny 1 too. So it's usually pretty easy. And then there's a lot of parts of it, like, you only really need like 3 or 4 people really knows what's going on. And you can get through that. Pretty teachable raid too. The one with the boys, it's got to be, something rewarding. So like, I probably could say go back and we could do a Master Vow Disciple again. I feel like if we get back in there, I'd like what was the first boss's name? Why did I forget it?
The Caretaker?
Caretaker, yeah. Like Caretaker encounter. I really like that encounter. It's like one of my favorite ones. The way DPS works, you gotta go up the floors. I like that. So Master Vow for me.
Okay. So for me, LFG is a no. Just no. If I have to give an answer, Ron, because there's less mechanics than any other raid, pretty much except for Vault of Glass, I guess. But I've gotten frustrated enough on Atheon when people, where's the boxes, man? What's the order? Like, it's like, it's just tell me the order of where to shoot things. Oh, I don't know, man. I've never done this before. Okay, I'm out. I'm good. I don't need to feel this anger ever again. I'm fine. And as far as the SEAL Team 6 run, Spire. I looked it up. I have 3 clears. And I liked it. I've gotten into that boss room so many times and nobody was able to beat it. And I'm like, bro, it's not that hard. And people would just, because they have to think of mechanics, they freak out and get upset and then just play like a bunch of chumps. And I'm like, it's not hard. Mechanics aren't hard. They're really not hard. If you want to just shoot things, play Crucible. Why are you in a raid? Um, but yeah, no, I have like I think less than three. I have 3 clears in Spire, and taking our group through that would be a ton of fun because we'd be able to just smash it super fast, and we'd be able to actually do speed runs on that. But it just I liked it. I like that one. Just nobody ever was able to clear the boss for some reason. So I want to get the boys in there.
Throwing that orb just like broke people's
brains.
brains.
It did track weird, but like, yeah, it yeah, exactly. But it's like the orb tracking's so much better now. Like, look at the battlegrounds. You could be like a solid 5 meters out from the boss, and all of a sudden it just tracks back into it. Like you'd never miss. You'd never miss Callus's hand ever again, unless you throw it the opposite direction.
I think that the issue with that one for us was we had just kind of started playing, all of us playing together, and then
it went away.
Some people were already frustrated with that raid. I think they had spent a lot of time in that boss room without success. So we actually didn't spend a whole lot of time in that boss room as a group. Whereas all the other raids here lately, we've been doing day ones and things. So we've spent 10, 12 hours in those boss rooms, which makes a big difference. Because that raid, that's really all that there is the phase 1 and phase 2 of the boss, and then in their one encounter to where you're in like an open area after you're jumping on the platforms consecutively.
Yeah, it's like you just kill enemies.
Yeah, and then you got to make a run and carry a ball across this long jumping puzzle to open the chest, and then you're in the final boss room. So not much going on in that one, but I would like to replay those. Maybe halfway through this year we will get to. Question number 2. Do you think a Destiny television show would work? Use a scale from Halo to The Last of Us. That's kind of rough on Halo.
It's a failure if you're trying to do a Halo or Last of Us type of show with Destiny. Destiny needs to be like a 22 to less than 30-minute quick hitters that's animated.
Okay.
Yeah.
That follow different, like an anthology series that follows different characters and stuff. And then like maybe your Guardian appears in half the episodes or something maybe.
I think they get away from the Guardian story. That's not...
Okay.
They could make it very episodic. Like a Shin Mouth for a couple episodes, and then move on to like Saint in the past, because we've only seen a little bit, and then other like Guardians we've never seen at all. Because like, how cool would it be to have actually followed Shayura's thing? Because she's going around, she was murdering Guardians and killing ghosts. So like, we have a little bit of that story, but like, imagine having a whole episode like where we're following her and hearing her get more and more crazy and talking to her ghost and just straight up murdering Guardians. Like, dude, that'd be crazy. Like, yeah, no, I think a little episodic animated thing would work the best for Destiny.
Like Eris and her like raid team in Toland whenever they went into the Hellmouth.
It could start out where they're all dying, and then the rest of it is just her like
her
replacing her eyes and just
That's probably the best answer. I think that there's too much outside lore that's way cooler than the Guardian story to do it that way. Full disclosure, I'm waiting for The Last of Us to get a little bit more patched up, and then I'm going to jump on that on the PC. I did play probably half of that game on like PS4 10 years ago or whatever. So and I'm waiting to watch the story. I'm waiting to watch the HBO series until after I play the game. So I have not seen that, but the Halo stuff I'm very well versed in, and I know The Last of Us is like highly regarded as like a major HBO series. It's obviously been picked up. I know the story of the second game, so you know I'm very interested to see how they do that. But we'll see how that goes. Question 3: what games are you looking at playing at the end of this season and mid-season next season when things start to slow down?
Oh boy. I already got an answer locked and loaded because I was going to talk to you guys about it afterward. But when I was gone, I had my Switch. So I was like, well, there's a lot of DLC maps in Mario Kart that I need to 3-star, so I'll start doing that. So I was playing. I'm like, I still got some of those to go. So I'll do some Mario Kart. And then I was like, you know what? I also got the Mario, all like the All Stars 3, like the collection of 64 and Sunshine and Galaxy. I started playing Galaxy. So I'm like, I might as well 100% this while I'm playing, you know, whatever. So I got part of the way through that. So I'll probably do some Mario Kart, probably do some Galaxy, you know, and then Tears of the Kingdom when it comes out. I did order that Switch today. So I'm excited about that. It's gonna be fun. But yeah, those are my 3 answers.
Man, what a mine's gonna be the Last of Us. It's gonna be one. Probably hit the Minecraft a little. The Stardew Valley. I love that game. And I've still got Valhalla. I've kind of or Valheim rather, that I have dabbled in. The issue is my brother-in-law has like beat the brakes off of that game and invited me into his game, and he's like, here, grab everything in this chest and put it right back. So my character now has like the blueprints for literally like every single high level item that there is in that game. So I'm not sure how much fun I'll have doing that, but it'll be fun. But definitely The Last of Us, and I'm probably 2/3 of the way through Final Fantasy VII Remake. Need to finish that off too.
So I started dabbling to Minecraft with my wife. It's a pretty like fun, casual game to play. So I've definitely put some time into there. Unfortunately, the other games I'm kind of looking forward to, like Starfield, isn't coming out until September. So I'm sure I'll go into another span where I get back into Overwatch for a little while. And then to see, I've tried the Switch and like the frames
So bad.
and the controllers. It really gets me. Really gets to me. I love the Switch Sports though. The golf on there is so much fun. I could easily get into that and just keep playing golf. I would love to play golf with like people. You can play with people on the internet with it and stuff, so that'd be fun. Maybe Redfall.
Jared, you need to get the Pro Controller, man. That'll change your life on the Switch.
I'm not.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
Pro
not.
controller's good.
I'm not investing into anything Switch. Just not doing
Dude,
it. I'm not
dude, I'm telling you
investing
that.
in something that I have to play at 24 frames.
Buy it for your wife, and then you use it. That's how it
You're not
works.
playing a Switch for the frames, dog. Like you're playing it for the Nintendo stuff. The stuttering stuff is annoying, but the OLED fixes a lot of that for some of the games. But you're not playing a Switch for
I'm
frames.
definitely not
man.
buying
You're
a
playing
new Switch.
You're playing a Nintendo product. It's
But I would like to, maybe if things slow down, and would there be any way we could do online, a little bit of online Mario Kart and have Chad stream it where he's got the capture card? We could do
yeah,
like,
that's possible. Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, that could be fun. I'd be playing as Tiffany Fox
Have you-
instead of myself.
She has all the carts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same for me.
No,
I'll
no,
be
no.
playing as well.
She has the online. She has the online.
Oh, she
the
has the
online on
online.
that
Okay,
one.
yeah.
Yeah, and I play under her, so I could have. But this is going to be question 3B. Who's your main on Mario Kart?
Oof.
There.
Rosalina.
Oh, There is a like metallic silver Mario, and that's the one I
Oh yeah,
Yes.
use.
Metal Mario. Yeah.
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 I'm Bowser all day, always,
Yeah.
no
You look
matter
like
what.
Bowser.
Bowser. Yeah, that's exactly why. It's all right. Question 4. Obviously, the meta is going to change before the end of Destiny 2, as we have one more major expansion left. What weapon types do you expect will be hot from here on out after the rocket DPS meta we are in now is over, so I can plan accordingly? You gotta think grenade launchers are gonna get touched. Grenade launchers and snipers. That would probably
I hope they
be
hit their
my
time again.
that'd probably be my two weapons I'd be chasing.
Yeah, that's pretty much what the answer is going to be. If you can pretty much guess who the final boss is going to be in the raid, so you know snipers going to be involved there. But I really want to push for shotguns to be amazing again, to where like you're running and gunning and moving as fast as possible, and getting up close. I think shotguns. It's something I would wish to see become the number one meta again.
Your last wish, maybe.
Yeah.
All right. Question 5. I kind of like this question, and I might. So the question is, can you solve this riddle? And we might just start having a riddle as the last question every week. So if you want to keep sending these in, I'd appreciate it, because this is a fun one. I will say I knew the answer to this one because I had one of my patients tell it to me once upon a time. So I'm going to refrain from answering. But the riddle is: a man is looking at a photograph of someone. His friend asks who it is. The man replies, "Brothers and sisters, I have none, but that man's father is my father's son." Who was in the photograph?
So is this one of those things that like I have 2 coins that equal 15 cents, one of them and one of them's not a dime, but
It's not quite that. No. Um, do neither of you know it yet? I'll give you
I
you a
mean, gut
small hint.
instinct is just nephew, but
is
it's
it like
a riddle. It's
is
not
it
going to be that easy.
is it like a godson or something?
No, read the last sentence. But that man's father is my father's son.
It's him.
There it is. That's the answer. It's a picture of himself. He doesn't have any brothers or sisters. His father, the person in the picture, is his father's son. So that's the answer. I really enjoyed that. Chad's looking at me like I'm simple. So Chad didn't enjoy the riddle as much as I did, I guess. But saying that, don't forget you can take us on the road via Spotify, iTunes, other podcast services. I'm the Destiny Bad Boy, not Ryan Fox. Follow us on Twitter at DestinyCCPod. I'm going to let these other two sign off.
Destiny Masters Week. Love it.
I don't love it as much as Jared, but I'm here for it.
Put it on Twitter.
The tradition, unlike any other. Go Cats. Love you guys.